Welcome back. We continue with In the Headlines, getting to have a look at what the papers have for us today. We are still using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. At KBC Channel 1 is official station handle. Our individual handles ever remain to be at Raymond Nyara, at Doreen Range, at Victor Olo, and at Jane Wamboi. I start you off with the Daily Nation. A very striking header right there today with a picture of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. And the question is, a lame duck king? Well, they go on to say that looking at the succession politics that of course started from way back since his time earlier on in his second term, the war has been at the president's door, and they go on to highlight 4 aspects of this, with number 1 saying members of a 2017 fallout within Jubilee Party after the nomination fiasco is still simmering. Number 2, they point out DP Ruto has made tremendous inroads into Central and outsmarted President Uhuru Kenyatta. Number 3, they say the region says it has lost the most in the president's war when it comes to counterfeits. And 4, Uhuru's reliance with, or rather Uhuru's dalliance with Raila Odinga is seen as a betrayal of the region's loyalties. But they go on to point out more in regards to the caption that they have put out here. And let me just read for you word for word what has been captured here. They say President Kenyatta today begins confronting possibly the biggest hurdle to managing his succession as he faces the hostile Mount Kenya region, which has rebelled against him and banked on his insubordinate deputy, William Ruto. They go on to say that this charming son of Jomo, who speaks fluent Kikuyu spiced with metaphors and imagery straight from the Mau Mau era, and whose allegories, on the campaign trail seems to have a mellowing effect on his audience, is losing grip on his subjects. The charm has worked for him before, but will it work for him today? This is in reference to the Sagana 3 that will be happening. And then again, critics have come out to question, why Sagana? Why specifically Sagana? And I do believe, I think it was last week in the papers, this daily, of course, they did mention that Sagana is sort of the president's quote-unquote launch pad when it comes to political or moves that he's making that are very significant to the political timeline of this country. So we will be seeing how that will be playing out throughout the day. Aside from that, the other story here is in regards to the Kenya National Union of Teachers, where there still seems to be a lot of unsettled talks still going on, with the wrangles in the Kenya National Union of Teachers are far from over, with the current Secretary General, that is Collins Oyu, and his predecessor William Sossion continue to trade accusations over the union's assets and debt. Aside from that, we have the pandemic blues, with experts now warning that there could be a COVID wave in May, pointing out that the waves, the COVID-19 waves, also follow the flu season in the country and all other places. That is a story that has also been captured here. We'll be getting to more details in not too long. But for now, that is the front page of the Daily Nation for you today. Victor.
All right, and on the front page of the Star here, why Mudavadi's big gamble yet to pay off? Why Mudavadi's big gamble yet to pay off? The DP's ratings in Western Kenya continue to drop despite ANC leader joining him. That is a story I'm giving you briefly. Again, facing Mount Kenya, something that also been covered on the Daily Nation. Uhuru to meet 6,000 delegates. He's expected to drop the Ruto bombshell detailing their split. It said that it's also established that numerous sector leaders have been invited to the all-important meeting at the Sagana State Lodge, a session called Sagana 3. And opinion leaders, including the clergy, teachers unions, board officials, as well as select elected and influential leaders, political leaders and businessmen and elites have been invited. We'll be interested in understanding what will be happening there. And of course, we have got our reporter, Kioria, who is on the ground and will be joining us later on. Gisheru man threatened to kill me, according to the witness. The case is still on at the ICC. The second prosecution witness, P034, said that person number 19 threatened to kill him if he told ICC investigators details of their meetings. The case is still on at the International Criminal Court. And on the third page here, why Mudavadi's big gamble yet to pay off? Let me give you certain number of MPs and legislators who have decamped from ANC to Azimio la Umoja. A number of them, we have got Ayub Savula of Lugari, we have got Godfrey Osotsi, nominated member of parliament, we have got Oku Kaunya, Teso North, Peter Nabulindo, who is the member of parliament of Matungo constituency. We have got Christopher Aseka of Huisero, Tindi Mwale of Butere, Titus Hamala of Lurambi, as well as George Haniri who is the Vihiga senator. So analysts say that so far the ratings in Western Kenya continue to dwindle, even as the DP picked Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Wetangula from Western Kenya. All right, so another party, Raila Riley's Taita Taveta to back Azimio. That was yesterday after his 4-day tour of the of Coast Region, where he finalized his 4-day tour there. Senators back bill scrapping need for degree for MPs and reps. Basic literacy required to vie in proposed law. Now, this law was sponsored by Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen, who said that who sought to provide a lifeline for thousands of aspirants lacking the qualification. They said that the current law is unconstitutional and discriminatory. The Election Amendment Bill 2020 lowers the threshold for qualification to contest for a political seat in the August 9th general election. So there is some lifeline for all the aspirants. And finally, Greta back to prison in 468 million shillings NYS graft case. This is after the person who stood surety for her withdrew. So now what next for her? She has to pay 500,000 shillings surety to be deposited in court for her to get her bail. She's back in court. Remember, around 2 weeks ago, she declared that she was going to run for senatorial seat in Nakuru, and an hour or so later, Jubilee officials in Nakuru offices said that, no, not that way. So she's back in Langata Women's Prison. Doreen, what do you have?
Why Sagana 3 is critical for Uhuru. This is the header that the PD has chosen this morning as it pertains to that critical meeting, just saying that the success of today's meeting will either dent or be a boost for the deputy president. Dent if the president manages to convince Mount Kenya people to back Raila Odinga, and obviously boost if he doesn't manage to do that. Again, going by what pundits are saying, clearly a lot is expected on this particular meeting, but part of what forms that critical conversation is the political direction that the president is going to give, his game plan, as well as also perhaps spill the beans on what exactly happened between him and his second in command. So again, there's a lot of conversation surrounding this meeting today. And away from that, IBC has now come to just perhaps make Kenyans understand what the law on actually that live streaming of results really meant or means, and they just say that that particular law or amendment does not actually ban live streaming of election results. And part of what informed that amendment is just to try and see how they can create a pathway for results from at the polling station to be physically sent to the National Tallying Center, and also create a mechanism, particularly for areas or in areas where it could be difficult or impossible to live stream this election result. So this is where this amendment particularly applies in these two scenarios, but it does not in any way mean that there will actually be any banning of live streaming of election results as what we are used to. And also, as that is happening, the former Nairobi governor, that is Evans Kidero, as he was speaking to youth. Remember that this particular person is also vying for the Homa Bay gubernatorial seat, and he went on to say that youth should shun violence during this election, just citing that violence has no satisfactory result and no one gets a trophy for funding violence. That is what he added. Remember that the youths oftentimes become vulnerable during such times or during the electioneering period, and that is why he went ahead to urge youths to shun and do away with violence. And lastly, what exactly is happening at Egerton University, given the fact that this strike is continuing on its third month, and there's a fresh standoff in that particular university, saying that the officials saying that they'll continue with these strikes up until their demands are fully met by the management. And also this comes just barely a week after the University Senate resolved to reopen the institution. But again, remember, there's still a lot happening in that university, especially as it pertains to matters finances, and they have said that they shall not relent up until all their issues are met by management. Regina.
The Standard this morning, it's all about what is going to be happening today in Sagana. There, all eyes and ears, so to speak, are set there. And the big read here this morning reads, "Which way Mount Kenya as Uhuru spills the beans?" It's all about beans in as far as this particular article is concerned. So it has been defined as a moment of reckoning. The president there in his backyard, is going to get a platform to actually explain what went wrong in his political bromance with his deputy William Ruto. And the big question is whether the vote-rich region will read from the same script as the head of state. Remember, there's been talk and rhetoric in the political forum where in the past years there's a slogan that went that it's difficult for ODM leader Raila Odinga to scale the mountain, but with the recent events in our political scene, he's been said to be making headway in that direction. Deputy President is also not unfamiliar with the Mount Kenya region there. He's been traversing that area, seeking votes and such. So that's the main read. All eyes. The total number of delegates expected to grace that particular feat is 3,000 from across 10 Mount Kenya counties that are expected to meet the president at the Sagana State Lodge. We have both our television crew and digital crew on ground. We have Hunja Masharia on digital, as well as John Jacob Keria, who is going to be bringing us up to speed with what is happening online. I can see various comments coming from different persons who are attending the Sagana State House, the Sagana 3, so to speak. And a hashtag is gaining momentum, and that's hashtag Sagana Declaration. Victor is going to unpack that as he hosts our various analysts this morning on, matters politics on The Viewpoint. So do keep it right here. Then also on the front page, we have Justin Muturi there, who now is, the presidential candidate for the Democratic Party, that is DP, coming out to say Kenya has become a cartel economy where farmers are neglected to allow profiteers to make a killing. This comes around the conversation and the hashtag that has been, trending on social media platforms, to be precise, Facebook and Twitter, lower food prices. This is a conversation that has moved from social media to mainstream media with various arms of government, even chiming in. Even ODM leader Raila Odinga has been quoted there during his political campaign, hinting at, matters of low cost, lowering the cost of food and such. It has become a political conversation there, having found itself on the front page. But now the National Assembly speaker there, who is the presidential candidate for DP, also taking a swipe at matters of high cost of living. Now, my children can defend themselves in court. Those are the words of Migori Governor Obado, who says, I'm not responsible for the acts of omission of my grown-up children. And this is in regard to an anti-graft case that he is facing with the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, seeking to have him and his 4 children forfeit assets worth 73 million shillings. Among the assets include the commission wants to seize a palatial home in Lavington, 2 luxurious vehicles allegedly purchased using funds stolen from the Migori County, and money wired to the children's account. According to the commission, that out of the 73 million shillings, 38,949,376 was wired to Obada's children for their university tuition fee and upkeep, and a portion was used to purchase 2 Land Cruisers V8, and the remaining 334,525,000 was used in the purchase of the Lauretia Ridge House in Lavington. In their defense, the 2 sisters argue that they're being prosecuted because of their father's political affiliations and denied ever receiving a kickback from the companies alleged to have been irregularly awarded contracts by the county government. Also on the front page is the state of preparedness in as far as the national examinations that are set to kick off from the 7th of next month. Threat to exams as teachers issue a strike notice. So an exam crisis looms as teachers are vowing to down their tools over pay. Now, KUPPET will today issue a 7-day strike notice ahead of the KCPE and KCSE tests. Now, according to Okelo Missouri, who is the Secretary General of KUPPET, he says the TSC has failed to reopen talks on better salaries and allowances. Where do we stand in as far as matters of national examinations are concerned? Well, that's just but a sneak peek of the front page of this particular daily, being the Sunday that we are sampling today, with also some tidbit of what is happening in Ukraine. Kenya finds itself smack in the middle, and this is because it has, business prospects and investments in Ukraine, and now Kenya has added weight into that particular conversation, and I want you to allow me to actually read what has been said. It has actually been captured in one of our stories that we highlighted for you. So according to, and this was an address during the UN session where the Kenya permanent representative to the UN, Martin Kimani, said Russia's action amounts to breach of territorial integrity of Ukraine. In a statement that has won admiration, Kimani invoked Kenya's and Africa's colonial history while making a case for Ukraine's territorial integrity. Remember, we sit in the council. That is Kenya. We sit in the council when it comes to matters of security, and that particular statement coming from the UN, Kenya's permanent representative to the UN, indeed shows that Kenya is using her place in that particular platform in pursuit of peace. We'll be keeping tabs on what happens with Russia and Ukraine as we proceed with the coverage of news that doesn't just focus on what is happening locally, but also regionally and internationally.
All right. I think that's the right time for us to take a break, all right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we will take a break, and after this, we are kicking off that debate on what's happening in Sagana right now. We have got analyst Dr. Rotich already in studio, and Amisi Boga will be joining us via Zoom from Mombasa. So stick around for that. It's going to be an interesting one.
Why Sagana?
Why Sagana? All right.
After Sagana.